TIFU by not knowing how to boil water.
This actually happened 2 days ago. We are on vacation in a rented house. Some relatives dropped in to visit us. My wife wanted to offer them tea, so she handed me a kettle and asked me to boil some water. I filled it in the kitchen sink. Then I put the kettle on one of the burners on the range and turned the flame on under it. A minute or two later, an acrid burning smell started to fill the kitchen. My wife realized what was happening, darted to the range, and turned off the burner. But she was too late to save.
The electric kettle. That's right, it was the kind that has an internal heating mechanism and sits on a plugged-in base. The outside of the kettle was scorched, and the electronics inside it were definitely fried. As a result, I've just returned from Bed Bath & Beyond, $50 per but hopefully a little wiser. I don't drink hot beverages, so I didn't know there was such a thing as an electric kettle for boiling water. But I sure know now. TLDR, I stuck an electric kettle on an open flame, ended up with a stinky kitchen and a dead kettle, and had to spend $50 for a replacement.
Sounds like her in some hot water.
Man, you are lucky you don't live in the UK, that is a sin punishable by death over here.
What did this kettle look like? All the electric kettles I've seen have had buttons on them. Most were plastic. If you were British, your citizenship would be revoked after such a blunder. Hopefully it was a more fancy metal-looking kettle, as a lot of the cheaper ones are clearly plastic, in which case I question your thinking.
I'm still astonished that Americans don't have a kettle on hand at all times. Every person that walks through the door get offered tea. I drink like 8 to 12 cups a day. Almost everyone I know that's moved house packs a small box with tea-making supplies in, including the electric kettle, to take last from the old house and unpack first in the new house. The faff involved in tea-making without an electric kettle is unimaginable in my eyes.
It's so bizarre to me, a Brit, that kettles aren't just ordinary fixtures in every kitchen, everywhere. 9 times out of 10 when I've moved into a new rented flat, a kettle has been included as standard, because not having one would be like not having an oven or something.
NGL, I probably would have done the same thing unless explicitly told it was an electric kettle.
Tell me you're American without saying you're American.
I think it's quite reasonable to think this. The UK has residential electrical supply and regulations that allow for 3 kW electric kettles to be commonplace. The US has half the voltage and is not generally on a ring, so electric kettles can't be as powerful. As a result, stove kettles are used as they're likely faster than an electric alternative. Easy to see why each place wouldn't realize the other isn't a thing.
Literally, this same thing happened to an acquaintance of mine. She was heating water and put the kettle on the stove. I turned around and noticed a few minutes too late.
I thought Op didn't know how to boil water using a stove, lol.
Gee, what is that cord with plug on it for? Cough, pan. My wife has an electric kettle. I hate it. It takes up space. I ask her what's wrong with the pan. She says the kettle keeps the water hot. I proceed to put the pan back on the stove. Turn the heat on. Apparently that was not the correct demonstration.
You Americans crack me up.
This must feel awful. But let me assure you that you are far from the first person to make this mistake. This happens constantly, and especially because although the old ones look like juice pitchers, the newer ones sometimes are made of brushed steel, and it's really difficult to tell. Especially if they are designed to look like a kettle for the aesthetic. You're not dumb. You are just a human being. This will just be a hilarious story soon, even if it's embarrassing right now.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.